Hey class, how are you? Just wanted to send out a brief video to talk about social responsibility. I know we talked about ethics in our previous meeting, and this is just a follow-up discussion on our social responsibility aspect of it. And I wanted to include this because it is an important part of the chapter. Social responsibility deals with this idea of giving back, that corporations not only are not there to just take from organizations, they also want to give back. And so just to offer a few brief details on that to wrap up our discussion. What is corporate responsibility? So corporate responsibility refers to the idea that a business is given the opportunity and privilege to make the world a better place. This process can happen through a variety of methods, including the donation of funds, volunteerism, and implementation of environmentally friendly policies. It's up to each organization to determine the best way to demonstrate social responsibility. And I'll add that it really is situational to where that organization is located. You know, if you're located in an area that really needs food support for food insecure families, yeah, that might be a good area to focus on. Or if you're in an area that really needs education support, maybe for helping fund a tutoring center or a book donation program or anything that will support educational content for schools, yeah, that's a great opportunity for you. So let's give you some examples and talk a little bit more about it. While certainly not mandatory, corporate social responsibility has become a popular way for companies to improve their image and promote causes they believe in at the same time. Corporate social responsibility may involve focusing on the immediate community in which a company does business. However, there are some organizations that take it a step further and focus on more widespread global issues. For example, the shoe company Tom's has created a mission to make sure that every boy and girl in underprivileged countries has proper footwear. Blake Mycoskie, the CEO of Tom's, and this is a person we study in my Business 230 class, has created a complete business model around social responsibility. Not stopping at shoes, the company now also helps with fresh water bringing fresh water to communities, as well as making birth safer for babies in developing nations. There's a great company that I learned about through Shark Tank called Bombas. It's a sock company. I'll say the socks are a little on the pricier side. They are very comfortable. I really like Bombas socks. Hoping to get some more at some point. I did buy several pairs in the past. But the big thing about Bombas is when you buy a pair of Bombas socks, they donate a pair to a shelter in our country to help because they identified the number one requested item amongst people in homeless shelters were socks. So there you go. The popularity of corporate social responsibility has only increased as millennials and Generation Z employees enter the workforce. Employees in these generations often care deeply about making a difference in the world in which they work. Whether they are buying products from brands that give back or promoting a similar activity in their own workplace of employment, the youngest of the workforce are making corporate social responsibility a priority. So where did the concept originate? So as it turns out, this has been around for a while. The earliest published book about the topic of corporate social responsibility or corporate responsibility of the businessman was published in 1953. This book introduced the concept of companies giving back as a form of investment in the future. This idea came from a generation that had survived some of the hardest times in our world and wanted to make it a better place for generations to come. And it's actually a very profitable thing to do to give back to communities in need or organizations in need because people see that. They see that philanthropy, they identify with it, they appreciate it, and they're more likely to do business with you because of it. So by the turn of the millennium, companies were actively participating in a variety of corporate social responsibility projects, excuse me, from volunteerism to large corporate matched charitable donations. Nearly every company has some form of charitable campaign driven by the values of the culture and the interest of employees. Today, some 63 million Americans volunteer each year, which is worth around 175 billion in worker hours annually. On top of volunteering, U.S. corporations give over 18 billion to charities each year, through fundraisers and employer matching programs. I work with a volunteer organization called Society of St. Andrew. The website is endhunger.org. Our mission is to, it covers a spectrum, but generally speaking, we try to offer hunger relief to communities in need, to families in need. And we do that a couple ways. Number one, we have a network of producers that have just a large amount of unused produce and other food items. And what happens if a producer has a 40,000 pound truck of potatoes that are culls or rejected for cosmetic or size purposes, that is more than likely going to get dumped in a landfill. It may get used as some other product, but a lot of times these trucks just get dumped and trashed. 40% of the food produced in the United States is thrown away before it hits the table. And so we throw away 2 football stadiums worth of full to the top of food every day in this country. So we have a huge food waste problem, but at the other side of the spectrum, we have a huge food insecurity problem where 1 out of 5 to 1 out of 7 people don't have enough food at some point throughout a monthly basis. And so this organization works with producers, works with farmers directly to capture some of that food waste and redirect it to communities in need. And I work with volunteers directly. I'm a paid employee that works on a part-time basis to coordinate gleaners who want to go out to a field that's already been picked and in some cases not been picked, and they will glean crops such as corn, sweet potatoes, white potatoes. I've gleaned cabbage, broccoli, pears. I mean, all types of produce. We've done green peppers, strawberries, and so all these products. Some of it comes from like research farms that are just growing it for just to test out different methods of growing. Some of it comes from farmers that want to be generous, and like I'll have a farmer that might give me 10 rows of unharvested sweet potatoes. These are beautiful, fresh, untouched sweet potatoes that we'll take, and in a day you'll be surprised. We'll go out for 2 to 3 hours only, and I'll go out with 10 to 20 people, and we can get several thousand pounds of food. And so volunteerism is a great way to connect to your community, to do something that instantly does good in the world, and it actually helps farmers support what they're doing. It helps producers. That's just an example. But volunteer, do something. It's also a resume builder for you, so you can talk about, when somebody talks about volunteerism, you can say, I do this, or I help this organization, and it's really as much as you want to put into it. I mean, most volunteerism is as little or as much as you want to give, and it's just I would pick something that's near and dear to your heart that you want to make an impact with. So, and I got into it because I was looking for something to make some part-time money, and I don't make a lot of money doing it, but I got more than money out of it because the cause is very dear to my heart, and I feel like every time I go out to collect food for families, that we make a tangible difference instantly in the life of somebody in our communities. And so really, really powerful stuff. So how does corporate responsibility benefit a business? So improved perception by investors. If you've got an organization that is profitable, but it's also got time to do these other initiatives, you can say to yourself, this corporation has got not only the business stuff figured out, but they're doing so well that they can also focus some of their attention on volunteerism and responsibility, social responsibility. And so that just is a positive message to the investor community. Enhanced performance for going green. Yeah, there was a time, I'm trying to think of the year this really happened, where I witnessed this. I would say 2007, maybe 2006, 7, where I really witnessed corporations jumping on the Go Green bandwagon. When I was at Walmart during this time frame, everything seemed to be, the language they wanted to use was going green, organic. Organic was huge, and So I see the benefit from a marketing side of it, but it does kind of reinforce a positive to consumers that, you just feel I don't know if it's a placebo effect or if there's an actual outcome that you experience, but if I buy a bag of carrots that say organic on it, I feel even a little bit better about that decision because I know that harsh chemicals that could cause harm have not been used to produce that product. So contracting for success and companies that tie their CEO salaries to corporate social responsibility results, also known as contracting, the impact is felt even more. The value of the companies increases while the bottom line of the business is maintained. So yeah, there's some accountability there. Get the CEOs involved in this. Make sure that they're committed to CSR. And so benevolent halo effect. When consumers understand the commitment that an organization has to being socially responsible, its image becomes more positive. Customers actually perceive the company and its products in a different way because they experience a better experience. Yeah, you feel good supporting companies that are doing good. It's like a double win. And so if I go into a company's doors and I see that they're doing positive outcomes, you realize that a percentage, albeit small, percentage of your participation or the money that you're spending is doing this good thing, and it's helping in some small way. You're actually doing a charitable thing by spending your money there. And so that's a good double win for the consumer. You're actually allowing your customers to participate in the benefit of CSR. Consistency of effort and partnerships. Research also found that socially responsible organizations were consistent with staying focused on the issues that matter most to their employees and customers. A higher level of consistency of efforts prompted better results. So you wanted to do things that allowed for things that matter to your employees and your customers. That lends to more buy-in from customers and from employees. Like, I'm a big Apple fan. I recognize that Apple could do things better in some regards. Labor practices is one of the big ones. And they are pushing now to be more CSR focused. They've been very education focused of late. They've been very health focused of late. And now they're being even more green focused. And so if you can get a company that's firing on all fronts doing that, I feel even better about supporting a company that's doing that. Talent attraction. People like to work for companies that are doing good things. I like to work for Wayne because I like to teach, but I also like the impact that this institution makes on this community. The outcomes are transparent. When students graduate, they're able to go out, get a good job, have a good income, be able to provide for their family, increase production and productivity in this county and in surrounding counties. It's a positive for everybody. And then they tell other students about coming to Wayne, which creates a kind of a feedback loop. Hey, I went to Wayne, I had this great experience, I learned this, I did this, you should also try that. And then lastly, consumer influence. A major benefit of engaging in corporate social responsibility efforts is that consumers regularly check in with their favorite brands to see what they're doing. It almost becomes kind of a friend. You've got this friendly interaction with this brand. I have some brand loyalty, but there's a few brands that I'm really interested in, and I'll check out what they're doing more often. But yeah, you do develop a closer connection to organizations that are doing things that align with your ideology and so your personal philosophy and framework. All right, so this was a brief kind of recap about corporate social responsibility. And if you have any questions, please feel free to shoot me an email. I'm happy to talk to you. And until I talk to you next, have a great day.